culture hero, coming to save us all. You never judged us, taught us to stand up tall. Pop culture hero, taught us to be as one. After the prequels, the healing has begun. Walking the thin line between heaven, earth, and hell. Pop culture hero, saving us from ourselves.
Hey gamers, this is Maniac with Game Access doing our next top 5 in glorious HD. And since we've been talking about CGI cinematics and live action cinematics for so long, especially given the fact that I already told you about Jedi Knight, my fondness for Jedi Knight, we're going to go back to the past in another one and do another game that actually meant a lot to me, and that is, of course, Privateer 2. Now, some of you might actually remember Privateer 2 from Spoonie's review, but a lot of you actually might not know it at all. And it was an EA game based off of the Wing Commander series, released back in 1996 for CD-ROM. It was a DOS game, which was later ported to Windows, and it has some of the greatest cinematics I remember because they all starred Clive Owen, who at the time was an unknown, and wouldn't be well known until about 2000 when he did the BMW films and then later on the Bourne Identity. But you could tell early on that this guy had some serious acting chops early on. And it's in every scene he just has a really good, you could just tell that there was something about him that was going to be doing well. And also it has some great acting performances by other actors in it, which I'll be talking about in a bit when their scenes come up. So let me tell you a little bit about my history with this game. This game was, when I first got it, it was a gift by one of the guys who worked for my father who couldn't get it to run. But my first PC, this was back in the time when you buy a new PC, it'll run anything that's out at the time. And it definitely had the chops to run it. And I took great pleasure in getting the game to run and playing it and enjoyed it quite bad. The gameplay, the fighting segments, Spoonie's already talked about how bad it is, but the cutscenes were so good. You just wanted to get through the game just to see how the story ended. And when the story did end, you weren't disappointed one bit. I mean, this is like the earliest game I can think of that was like a space sandbox, basically, and I loved it. And later on, your spirit would definitely be known in games like Freelancer, which actually was a fantastic release back in 2003. And you could probably still get it. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the top 5 in Privateer 2 cutscenes. And we're up to number 5. And there was a lot of debate with this one, but number 5 is going to be Kappa Labs. And let me tell you why I chose Kappa Labs. It's dark. It had great set appeal. It had fantastic mood. It was empty. It was dark. It had great lighting, and it was scary because you didn't know what was going to be going on in there, or what had gone on in there. And really, there's no dialogue. Nothing is said. Nothing is needed to be said. The guy's got his gun out the whole time. He never uses it because he's just looking through like what happened here. And in truth, you really never know. You really never knew what happened there, what went on. And it just all had to be said with no dialogue, just set dressing and Clive Owen's performance. So that is why it is number 5. we're up to number 4, and I actually enjoyed number 4 very much because more than just, because it just showed that the game can just be as funny as it could be dramatic. And this scene is it, and that is, of course, Angus Santana's scene. I loved this guy. I could have watched the whole game revolve around this guy if I could have. He was so funny with such great lines. You know, you could just tell that Santana was very much a busy businessman, but also kind of very much had a yuppie feel to him and a more cutting edge feel to him. So he kind of was a bit of a cross between an 80s yuppie, Kevin Mitnick, and the Stephen Wozniak, basically. So it was really, really cool to see that kind of a twist on a character with great lines like, "Never mind the mess, mess the mind. That's the slogan for today. Don't know what it means, but when did that ever stop progress? On the way to a meeting, 3 meetings actually, simultaneously." And I'm thinking, this is where we're going. In the 90s, this is probably where a lot of people assumed they were going, and in truth, they pretty much were right. They were just about 2,000 years early. Yeah, so it's a hilarious scene. Angus Santana is a great character, and that is why it is number 4.
Don't mind the mess, mess the mind. That's the slogan for today. Don't know what it means, but when did that ever stop progress, eh? How can I help, sir?
Lev Aris.
Excellent. I can only give you a few minutes, I'm afraid, Sir Aris. On the way to a meeting. 3 meetings, actually, simultaneously.
I appreciate it.
Where did I put those minutes? You must be with Taffin Reclamation.
No. No, I think there must be some mistake. I'm not with Taffin. The pod that Taffin sold you, I have an interest in it.
That I figured.
I was in it just before it was sold.
That would account for the interest.
I'm trying to clear up some questions about the facility I was in prior to being put in the pod, but I can't do that without the pod's serial number, and it doesn't show in the manifest of the ship it was on.
What ship was that?
The Canera.
The one that crashed? Hey, that whole business was not unstrange. Some crazy rumors flying around, way off the planet. Could you put some clothes on those rumors?
Maybe. But it's the pod that I'm interested in. Can you give me the serial number?
Well, if I had time to think about it, I'm sure there are a million reasons why I shouldn't. But I'm in a charitable mood, and I do have a meeting to get to.
3 meetings.
On the button. Here's what you're after. I've transferred it to your computer. If you follow the landings and the cargo information attached to that tracking number, you ought to be able to find the planet of origin. That's the old number. A new one's been assigned since we bought the pod.
Thanks. You said something about a memory solid going missing.
Yes, not something that normally would become detached. Is there anything else I can do for you?
No. You've been very helpful. Thanks very much.
Think nothing of it.